Hi, everyone. I thought I would know all the faces that are here, but clearly in 20 years I can't. So it's nice to see everybody, and it's nice to see all the people that have played amazing role in us being here. I see Michelle, Ed. So Ed, there are a lot of people that have played a role, especially in my life. But I'll go into that. So introduction to those that don't know me. My name is Themba. I currently work for a company called Rich Digital Health, formerly known as Prickelt. I joined them back in 2018, but I'll first give a brief background on NASSP and my journey, just very briefly, but mainly my focus is going to be about the work that I do as a data scientist at Rich. So I'm from Eastern Cape, in a small town called Qumbu by Mthatha. I came to Cape Town, I think, in 2010. Started my undergrad here at R.W. James, doing astronomy. And in 2014, got my degree, started to do NASSP honors. In 2015, I did my honors. Michelle taught me in, I think, when I was doing my final year, and also in honors as well. And I was supervised by Professor Renee, as well as Tom, even for my master's as well. Then in 2018, I then moved to the company that I'm currently at, so I'll go into details about that. So this is a quick overview into what contains on the talk. It's more on my migration from NASSP to the company that I'm currently at Rich. When did I leave? Why did I leave? And all of that. And secondly, I'll give you a brief overview into my company, or the company that I work at Rich. What is it? What is it that we do? And what are some of the responsibility of the data science team? And as a senior data scientist, what is it that I do there? And then we'll touch briefly, depending if time allows us, on some of the global challenges that we are facing and how we're tackling those as Rich. All right. So first thing, just to prove that I was in NASSP. So this is a picture that was taken, I think, back in 2015 for my honors, Sukuma. Ran this summer school. I can see Peter Dansby there. He organized a hike for us to Table Mountain. And we also had some of the students that were visiting us from US. I'm not sure if they were from Denver also, but we were starting something. I'm sure the organizers know a bit much about that. But this is me and the fellow student that I was with in class back then. So then why did I leave? The slide, I'm sure one person you're here. Some of you know one person here. So on the left-hand side, we have, who I call Rodman Budzolile. Then on the right-hand side, you'll get to know who is that. I remember when I was coming to completing my master's, so Budzolile calls me aside. He's like, hey, Mchana, come here. So we are very close. We are both closer from Eastern Cape, so he was more of a brother to me and a mentor. He's like, hey, are you in a relationship? I'm like, yeah. He's like, are you planning to do your PhD? I'm like, yeah. He's like, hey, you must forget about that relationship. It won't last. So I was faced with a dilemma then. On the right-hand side, it's a lovely lady that I have promised to be by my side. Then in a couple of years, I will build a life together. So now, I was faced with this decision that Budzolile was telling me, like, I want to do a PhD, but then I don't want to, like, this relationship, it's important. Then I was like, nah, I'm leaving. All right. On a more serious note, don't blame him. It only counts for like a small fraction why I'm not here. On a more positive or real side is this picture that's taken here was taken in 2015 after I've finalized my honors. This lovely queen in red, it's my mother. Then next to her, it's me and my nephew. I just finished my honors, and then we're scrolling on the beach in Milantine and all of that. It was her first time in Cape Town. Something tragic happened in 2016 after that. I remember, no, it was still in 2015. I was writing my final exams, and I'm calling my mother, and I can sense that in her voice, she's not well. I'm like, Mom, what's happening? She's like, I have flu and all of that. I'm like, okay, cool. Then the following day, I'm like, I'm not sure what I was writing. I think it was radio astronomy. I'm struggling. And around 3 a.m. in the morning, I feel my body burning up. And I can't focus. I open the doors, I open everything. I lie on the floor. Still my body's burning. I run to the shower, open up the water, I pass out. Around 7, that's when I wake up, and then I'm shivering, I'm cold. And then I call a friend of mine, and then they take me to a doctor. And then I'm given a medical certificate so that I can rewrite at some other point. After I came back, I was staying in Orb Square. After I just came back, then my uncle calls me. He's like, hey, Mchana, he stays here in Cape Town in Muizenberg. He's like, hey, Mchana, come here. I have a situation here with my wife. I need your assistance. I knew that's bullshit. I definitely knew that something was up. So long story short, I went there, and then turns out that my mother passed away. The reason it's unknown. They told us it was natural causes. So I'm from a village. It takes a while for an ambulance to get there. So my mother, they called the ambulance when she was struggling. It takes about 3 hours or so to get to the nearest hospital. The ambulance never came. We didn't have resources to be able to take her to the doctor. The following day, around the time where I was struggling and all of that, around 4 a.m., turns out that's when she lost her life. So this is partly why I left, because I was like, I don't want this to happen to somebody else if I can play a role. Because it was speaking about our health system. It was speaking about access for the people that are staying in the deep rural areas, the ones that we should care about, because at least they can't do anything about for themselves. So I wanted to work in a social impact space, because otherwise it meant I needed to join ANC. Not sure about that. So I had a difficult conversation with Renee, but told her that now I needed to leave. And I found a company which is called Rich. It was pre-called at the time in 2018, where they took me as a junior data scientist. So who is Rich? Rich is a social impact company. So what they do is they take existing technologies and then they see if they can impact health and achieve social impact using those technologies. So there's what is called mobile health. So using mobile to impact health. It's slightly broad, but I'll give you a bit of an example in terms of what is it that I'm talking about. So in this slide here, I have one of our flagship projects at Reach, which is called Mom Connect. So if you see that logo at the bottom there, That's Mom Connect. This project is owned and controlled by the Department of Health. We are the software behind it as Rich. So what this project is, it's a support system for pregnant women. We provide support in terms of antenatally and prenatal support. So what we do is, a woman, once they realize that they are pregnant, if we look in that bottom page, where I have it as labeled as number 1, once they realize that they are pregnant, they need to go to the hospital. The hospital will confirm that they are pregnant, and then the nurse will ask them a couple of questions. And then we are using a cell phone, not an advanced cell phone, because we are using a USSD technology. And then they can dial that number there, which is *134 *550#, and then they can register on our system, and then they get stage-based messages which are mapped according to their what is called the gestation age, which is an expected delivery date, or a date of birth, a date in terms of when did the child give birth. We give them support from the moment which they notify us that they are pregnant up until the baby is 2 years old. At the back of that, which is labeled as number 2, is one of the outputs that we have. So that's a dashboard that shows you all the registrations that we have on Mom Connect, but dating from 2020, we have over 1 million users that are on the platform. So anyone can register on this platform, and if you know somebody who is pregnant and all of that, it's shutting down. Comrade. I'll keep talking while Spello is assisting with us. So if you know anyone who is pregnant, I would advise that get them on that platform. There's a lot of valuable information that's there. They can benefit on that. I can't recall now what's my next slide. How long will it take, Comrade?
It's putting up. I don't know why it's keep on doing this thing.
So in the meantime, just to kill time, maybe if there are any questions from what I've already spoke about, while we wait for Spello to reboot.
Almost there. It's almost there.
Yes.
Let's see. That's great. So this is really fantastic so far, but just a question. You mentioned that you're talking about one of your flagship programs.
Yes.
How do you decide as a company what areas to focus on and what the needs are that you think you can bring data science to?
So as Rich, as I said, that we focus on the social impact space. So what we identify is that we know that governments are the ones that are making decisions, and yet they don't have enough resources to be able to do stuff. So as a company, what we used to do in the past is we will approach donors, and then a donor, for example, will say, we want to do this project. In the past, we used to take everything in health, education, and all of that. But then I think about a couple of years back, we narrowed it down because we realized that what we were good at was in health. So now we're like, okay, we're only doing projects that are in health, but we need to make sure that those projects can scale. Those projects are targeted at helping populations who are disadvantaged. So, which is why we operate in South Africa. We did have a project called Hello Mama in Africa. All right, sorry. I just can't recall which country. We did have a project even in Asia. So as long as a project is tailored or else it's going to benefit the poorest of the poor, then we do that. Also, all the work that was done by WHO, which is the World Health Organization, around COVID, the WhatsApp and all of that, we were the brains behind that. It was all done by us. All right, are you happy with that? Can I continue? How many minutes do I have?
You actually have 2, but you can get 3.
I'll get 3. All right, cool. All right, so in this slide, I just wanted to highlight some of responsibility and skill sets that you need to be able to succeed within REACH as a data science. So data science is an umbrella term. Just like software engineering, you'll have your back-end software developer, you have your front-end, and all the other flavors that you have. Even in data science, you have your data engineers, you have your data analysts, and you have your data scientist, which sits in the middle. You need to be able to understand and know your way when it comes to software engineering, because we work with the engineering team very closely. There's some of the work that we need to review and be able to contribute on that. Maths and statistics is the bread and butter of what we do. However, you need to be able to communicate the insights that you draw. And then some of the skill sets that you need, things like SQL, Python, doing some data architecture and all of those things. And then the other important thing is visualization and being able to do complex data experimentation, whether you're using normal statistical tools or else your ML and AI. So this is my last slide. These are some of the projects that we're currently busy with. Depending if we have time, it's like I knew that something will go wrong, which is why I just I highlighted them here. So one of the projects, so these are specific to the data science within Pre-Calc. One of the projects that we're busy with now, it's what is called a content recommendation engine. So we're busy building that. We have a lot of content. So for example, in MomConnect, there's a browser, what we call a browsable content, so about all antenatal or postnatal. So if users go on our platform and they want to consume that content, ideally we would want to have an engine that is able to identify what is it that they need and what is it that they like. So this is very similar to what happens when you go to Netflix, and then you'll see there's that band there, they'll say movies that we think you would like. They are using what is called a recommendation engine. I can speak a bit more about how we go about that, but we're busy building that, and I'm heavily involved on it. The second one is a feature which is called Ask a Question. So what we're struggling with, especially on the MomConnect project, is that we have a help desk, and there were a lot of mothers that were asking questions on our help desk, and then it was overwhelmed. We needed to create a model that will be able to triage these questions. Those that are light can be answered by a machine, and those that are a bit heavy and they need compassion and all of that, we can escalate to the help desk. So we have that model, we built it, it's up, but there are a few things that we need to fine tune. The other one is called the risk engine. So in these projects that we have, we need to be able to identify what risk is this user exposed to, and then we act before something can happen. For example, in that case of my mother, if we had a situation like that whereby there was some content that she was consuming, we were able to do some risk. We have a risk engine. It could give us flags to say, hey, you need to look out on this, you need to look out on this, maybe depression and all of those things. Then we'll be able to act before things got a bit more hectic. So that's where we're at the moment, and I will leave it there and take any available questions. Thank you.